Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner into a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Regina Regionals was yesterday, and as you can tell by this mat and this deck box here, I ended up getting top 4 in my invite. And the deck I used, believe it or not, was Mikanko, particularly the going second version of the deck. So yeah, that is a thing that happened. Admittedly speaking, this regionals is a bit of an asterisk because it was only 26 people. We had a very low turnout because it was the same day as a lot of locals in the province, and a lot of people were like, why bother driving out here in this terrible format and pay 20 bucks and 40 bucks to compete in an event where I'm just gonna get smashed by Cashier. So yeah, a lot of people just didn't show. It didn't make the event any less competitive because like my rounds were still pretty fierce to play through, and you still needed it to have a good record to get at least the top 4. Top 8 got the map, but not the invite. So a top is a top as far as I'm concerned, especially if it's a hard-fought top, and this was. So I'm happy. This is my 5th one, and finally I can say I actually got a top with a ritual archetype, which is one of the things on my bucket list I've yet to been able to do. I've got dragons under my belt, thunder monsters under my belt, and now this. So that's kind of everything that I've ever wanted to say I wanted to top with. And yeah, what's the other reason why I'm making this video? So the other reasons why I'm making this video are that, one is that I want to get the data out there so that people who are looking for Mikanko content have at least this as a reference point to try and like find ways to innovate the deck. Obviously this is for an old, now completely dead format with the new list coming to effect next week, so some deck building decisions will have to be changed, but still I just want this out there so people have the information. And two, we all know that a certain YouTuber is going to jump at the chance to make a video saying Mikanko topped, check out this and more, and he'll talk about how Fred and piece of candy this, and you know who I'm talking about. And when that video goes up, I'll be in the comment section because he's definitely gonna get my name wrong, and he's gonna look at this list and go, what's up with this? So yeah, that being said, let's just get into it. So I've already gone over this archetype in depth on the channel before. You can check my videos before on this out before, so I won't explain what all the cards do, just some of the noteworthy things that I did. So I played for the monsters 3 Ohime, 6 Ohime, 9 Ohime. I just decided to go with, you better have Droll, otherwise I'm playing and you're fucked. And that worked out. Like, I think I only got Drolled once. So there's the 9 Ohime, then the 5 of the other monsters, 2, 2, 1. Perfect ratio. Actually, no, I'd like to take this up to 3 and play the Roland along with Rhoda, because I have found that this is a pretty good starter card to have with an equip, and sometimes my hands have been kind of weird because I have no normal summons, so no normal summons in Aberrisk. So yeah, these all came through pretty this came in through the clutch. This got me the win against purely because I had Promise post side. Then for the other cards, 3 extra because we're on a blind second, want to OTK type deck, so the half damage from Prosperity is a big drawback. 3 Aberrisk, 1 Fire Dance, 1 Purification Dance, Rondo, Mayo Ashidori. Oh my god, this card performs so well. And then 2 copies of Ceremony, 1 of the Ritual Spell, 1 Rivalry. And then for the honorary cards, Metal Silver Armor, Double-Edged Sword. I did get the OTK line with this in Ohime versus a big monster. That happened once, and I got the 2-turn kill with this because my opponent had an open board and he couldn't summon anything for 2 turns. This card was terrible in a blind second build, so I'm cutting this for call by or something else. Another Lightning Storm even, because, surprise, I'm playing Thrusts, and Thrust was very good. Go figure, in a hand trap format, Thrust will get its chance to do something, and yeah, it got me a Preparation of Rites, it got me a Talents. I didn't search this, but it was there. It got me this. This helped me win some games. There's the Kaiju that play with it. And then I played Hidden Armory as an additional thrust target because this can search out Double-Edged Sword for an instance where I can thrust into Sword to get, so I can do the Ohime OTK, or I can thrust into Prep. That came up a lot too, because Preparation of Rites is a thrust target, and thrust into Slumber to set up a Kaiju line with Ohime. So I was pretty satisfied with Hidden Armory. And then for the extra deck, I got my 3 Diviner cards, 2 Synchro 9s in case one of them gets banished off a pot. Then the Ixies that I never summoned. I should probably cut the Leviair for the Quantal layer rank 3, the one that's an MST, or a Cicada King. But yeah, no, the chance where the option to go into these didn't really come up. It was just more efficient to just keep swinging. And then for the Link Monsters, IP, a Nightmare Phoenix. I just wanted to have a generic Link 2 to go into, and Phoenix has one of the higher stat lines for a generic Link 2, and then of course Unicorn into Access Code if I'm able to keep using Rondo for stealing. And then for the side deck, this is going to be where people go, what? The most. So I sided in some cards for going first. The obvious one being 2 Floodgates and a Promise, because if you're going first, you're likely going to resolve Promise as well as Rivalry. Summon Limit I like more than there can only be one, because Summon Limit hits the decks that side in there can only be one, on top of hitting decks that are weak that there can only be one. But, spoiler alert, I never went first once. Everyone, even after I beat them, after forcing them to go first, still opted to go first inside. Okay, so, yeah, the one time I did side in my cards for going first, I ended up just never doing it again. I think against one other time I did it because I thought a purely player was going to make me go first after I got him in the second game, but he still made me go second, and I got him. And then the last one in here is Threatening Roar. This one I do need to take some time to explain, because what the hell are you doing with Threatening Roar in 2023? So, I wanted a card that could stop my opponent from killing me, but still had them put monsters on the board, big ones, because, you know, you're a deck that likes to kaiju off things, Lava Golem, Bounty. Like, you interact with your opponent's monsters, so you need them to have monsters. And D-Barrier kind of doesn't really put out the ones I want them to have, like big 27 more attack monsters. I wanted that, so I went with something else that stopped them from killing me. In particular, stopped them from making Zeus. And I went with Threatening Roar because it skips their battle phase, more or less. It doesn't actually skip the battle phase, which is why I wish I had Thunder Ruler in here, but I don't own any. Because Thunder Ruler skips their battle phase, which means I can't get hit by evenly matched. This at least stops the Zeus from coming, and I figured that was more likely to happen if my opponent forced me to go first, but it didn't happen. And the reason why I played this in here is that it is a turn skip, but because it's Threatening Roar, who the hell is going to cross out Designator it? No branded player is going to be using cross out on this, so whereas Dimensional Barrier, branded's going to be siding cross out for, and they'll hit it, so I figured I'd go with an option that no one would see coming, that allowed me to live going to my turn, in which I can then try and kill him, because as long as I don't get killed, I can play. And this happens to be a thrust target that your opponent's not going to be able to cross out, and if they shotgun Cosmic Cyclone, you can flip it and they can't kill you. Then for the more going second cards, Crow, because it hits a lot of things this format. Cosmic's just a general side card staple. Hit anti-spell, hit other trap cards, force the Branded to red early. Cosmic won me games, go figure. And Lava Golem, because this is a deck that likes to just yeet your opponent's monsters off the board and then swing into big monsters for an OTK. And Lava Golem got me there. I also won a match off of Lava Golem's burn effect, because that also came up. And I can't really say much about him. Yeah, Lava Golem was pretty good. So, as far as how the matchups went, and so we had 5 rounds, and my matchups were Sprite, Live Twin, Runic. I won that one 2-0. Fluonderies, I won that one 2-0. Ninjas, I lost that 0-2. Curly, I beat that one 2-1. And finally, Fluonderies, which I beat 2-1. Yeah, 2 Flunder players in the same event. What the hell? We had 4 Flunder people. Why? Why are people playing that deck? It's not good. But, oh well. I learned very quickly that Shifter is actually not as bad on this deck as I thought. So I'll take back what I said before, but like, I don't know if I really agree with Shifter being like, yeah, no, Shifter's fine. It does cut off some of your plays, but it hurts other decks way more, so I might actually consider siding it. It is funny, because like, in one of the games, a Flunder player had Shifter and Droll, and he went for Shifter first. I'm like, oh, cool. I don't get my turn skip because I don't get hit by Droll, because you can't Droll under Shifter. So I got to resolve all of my shit. What were some noteworthy things that came up? Sprite, Life Twin, Runic, that's probably of the variants of Sprite out there, that's probably the one you have the best chance of beating, because most of their shit targets, whereas Melfi Sprite is a lot harder. Flu, I actually wonder if this deck actually has a good Flu matchup, because like, aside from just summoning a bunch of monsters on the turn, I don't think they can actually crack your board outside of Snowl, so if you can like play around Snowl, I think you can just clap that deck, truth be told. And then purely, that match basically came down to, did I draw the Alto Noir? 2 of the 3 games I did. And then I got him to low life points and Lava Golem for game. I got the Sword OTK off on Flu, and then game 3 against my last Flu opponent, I thrust for Slumber, which he was like, oh, because I made him burn some stuff beforehand, so I slumbered his board, used Mayo Ashidori to revive Hu Li, summoned Ohime, and then I swung twice into the Dogoron to deal 6,000 damage. Mayo Ashidori bounced the Dogoron back, and he had no board, so the Thunderstrike Kaiju swung in for the last bit of lethal. And then that's how I got an OTK off of Kaiju Slumber and Ohime with already in hand Mayo Ashidori. Like, this deck can kill you in some really strange ways, and I was still figuring out new ways to kill my opponent with this. So, all in all, I was actually pretty satisfied with how this ran. Opting to go second was like a last-minute decision. I just figured, you know what? Thrust is a powerful package, and you can naturally just break boards. And I figured if I tried to play in the going first style, I get blown out in the same way that most people would decide to beat decks like Purely. So I just decided to just one-up everyone and go second and attempt to crack their board, and then just side into more going second cards. Because between Lava Golem and Kaijus, I can deal with most monster-based boards. Back row boards are a different story, and I do wish I had another Lightning Storm. That's probably what the Metal Silver Armor will be cut for. But I didn't go up against any Labyrinth or Trap Trick decks, so I lucked out on that one. And that's all I got to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's a top for Mikanko in this awful format. Maybe someone will also be able to top with this deck in the new format. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, this is BlueStar899, jacking out.